Alright, so today we're going to walk through how to set up sales alerts in Marketo using social data added via Socedo, such as what someone is tweeting or who they're following. Now, Socedo adds social data into Marketo in two different ways. The first is directly onto the lead's activity log as a shared content message. The tweet text and a link to the tweet gets added into the share message on the activity log when the activity happens on the exact time and date. So then we have a historical log of all the different activities that Socedo has added. The other way that the data gets entered is via custom fields. So using custom data mapping in Socedo with Marketo, we can set up these three fields to know the exact text of the tweet that we're tracking on our leads, the URL to that tweet that the lead took, and of course the date of when that action happened. So these custom fields get updated and overwritten every time a new action happens for each lead. So these are the ones that we're going to go ahead and use today to trigger out sales alerts because it gives us a little bit more flexibility with how we can tokenize these tweets. So I'm going to hop over to my program here, wherever I'm hosting my sales alerts. And you likely already have some email best practices that you're using with your team. I just want to kind of walk through a few ways that I set up social alerts. So the first is that I'm going to go ahead and tokenize the tweet text as well as the tweet URL in the email that I'm sending out to the sales reps. Now I like adding the URL in here so that the rep can just click straight to the tweet and it opens it up in Twitter. I have one rep who likes to screenshot the tweet before they reach out to their leads so that they have some tangible reference points that they can point to. So it just saves a little bit of time for the sales rep. The other thing I can do here is this is all tokenized, so I can keep this pretty general. It can be for any hashtag, any keyword that I'm tracking, and Socedo, I can use this one email to trigger out an alert. However, if your sales team is anything like mine, sometimes they need a little bit more prodding when a really important action has just taken. So, for example, if I'm sponsoring an upcoming event and a lead has tweeted about that event, that's a highly valuable action that I want to make sure my sales rep is aware of and actually taking action on. So I might actually modify my subject line here to make it about that upcoming event. So for example, World Economic Forum is coming up. If I'm sponsoring it or doing kind of a separate session on that, that's really valuable if I know when someone's tweeting it. So this is going to be a specific email for that upcoming event. I can still tokenize everything else in here. Maybe I just want to add a line to my sales rep, make sure they know we're sponsoring. So now my sales rep has everything that they need to know, what their lead tweeted, and why they should reach out to them. So let's hop back over to our program. And the other thing to note is that this alert email should be an operational email because this is going to internally to our team. We want to make sure all of these are delivered. Go ahead and approve this email. And now that it's specific to World Economic Forum, I might just go ahead and update the title here. And then I can create a different one for another alert or just have a more general one as well. So I'm going to create a new smart campaign in my program that's going to trigger off all of these emails. The nice thing is, because we're using tokenized tweet texts, we only have to create one campaign in our alert email, and then we can use the flow steps to trigger off these different emails. So we're going to trigger based off of that field that's always getting overwritten when a new action takes place. So I'm going to use the data value changes trigger. And I'm just going to go ahead and find that field, Socedo tweet text. So whenever this is updated, that lead will qualify to go through here. But let's just say I only want to alert my sales reps if it's an active lead. There's really no point in me alerting them on a lead that they've already converted or someone who's gone cold that they're not working anymore. So I'm going to filter down this further and I'm going to say if the person's status, I only want to trigger this email if their status is sales lead or whatever your equivalent is for an active lead in their pipeline. I could also filter this down by, opportunity is false, customer is false, or by specific sales reps. Now there's one more filter I'm going to go ahead and add in here. And that's the time and date of the tweet. So let's see here. Socedo tweet date. Perfect. Now, Socedo will add social actions multiple times a day, so they're always very relevant. However, when you add new keywords into your Socedo tracking campaign, or if you add new leads that are going to be tracked, Socedo will do its best to backfill all of that data on the activity log, which is fantastic, so you get all the historical context, but it also means that you may have some tweets in your queue here that are actually pretty old. They're not as recent anymore. And so we really only want to be alerting our sales reps on the most recent tweets. So I'm just going to go ahead and say in the past, let's just say 3 days. It could be 7 days, it could be a week, depending on what you want to do here. I'm just going to say the last 3 days because that's still very relevant actions if someone's tweeted in the last 3 days. And I definitely want to make it more than just the last day because sometimes if we're around a really high volume keyword, like an upcoming event, it can take the system a little bit longer to process and might not always come within 24 hours into Marketo. And so this just gives me the buffer room to capture all of those relevant actions. So my recommendation here is in the past 3 days. All right, so now we know exactly who we're triggering these emails to, what actions we're triggering off of, and we're getting the most relevant actions here. So now we need to just actually send that trigger. So in my flow step, remember, I am not going to add send email because this will send an email to the lead, and that's not what we want. Instead, we want to send an alert to the sales rep. So first thing I do here is I'm going to say, select my email here, alert email, World Economic Forum. There it is. So that's the email we want to trigger off to the sales owner. And of course, you can choose who this is going to if you have a different account structure in Salesforce. Or I could send this to an alias like sales@socedo.com. Or maybe I want to CC the marketing person who's in charge of Socedo. I can enter their email address in here as well. Now remember, this action is specific for World Economic Forum, so we actually only want to trigger it if it's on that keyword. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say if Socedo tweet text contains that hashtag World Economic Forum 2018. That's the official hashtag for the event. Or if I have multiple here, I could add in multiple hashtags. And then we're going to find that email. Let's find it here. Alert email World Economic Forum. There we go. All right, so then this is the one that I'm going to trigger off to the sales rep. And then if I had a more general one, I could just input here's more general sales alert. So that's going to capture all of the other ones. So I have one that's more specific, and then I have kind of a catch-all general social action alert email. I could do this kind of indefinitely if I wanted to create a separate email for every single high-value action that I'm tracking in Socedo. I could do that, but really I just kind of want to do a couple that are specific around an event and then keep them more general. And everything's tokenized, so the sales rep will get the context. Now, triggering an email is, of course, just one way to alert the sales rep. There are two other ways that we can do this. The first is we can create a task in Salesforce. So, for example, if your sales team prefers to do most of their work in Salesforce, they're not checking the email inbox as often, then creating a task is a great way to make sure they're actually seeing these notifications. This also works really well if you have a bunch of leads in Salesforce that are part of a queue but aren't assigned to a sales rep. That way, anyone who's working that queue, such as 3 or 4 different sales development representatives, will all be able to see these tasks and reference them when they get to that lead. So again, kind of same thing here. We'll just set this up. We have to customize this a little bit. We're going to go ahead and keep all of that, but we're going to say new social action on that lead. And then we're going to go ahead and add in the comments here, keep their email address. We're going to keep those fields, right? So we had Socedo tweet text. And then, oh, forgot my capitals. Yeah, that should work. And then lead dot Socedo tweet URL. And I like adding the URL here because it gives them, the sales rep, the link, right? Now, depending on your kind of SLAs with your sales team, you can set this up however you do. But, you know, at the very basic, I can just assign this to whoever sales owner is or the queue in Salesforce. The final way we can do this is if you have Marketo Sales Insights set up in Salesforce, we can add interesting moments. Now, interesting moments are a little bit buried in Salesforce. They're down at the bottom of the lead detail page, which means unless your sales reps are spending every day opening up each lead's information, they likely won't see these sales alerts in real time. So these are great for historical logs if they need to quickly glance at what are all the past activities that my leads have taken. But I also kind of want to keep these alerts here either as a task or an email, especially for my high value actions around an event. But for my interesting moment, we're going to go ahead and create a milestone. And I'm literally just going to put in the tweet text because it should be pretty obvious what it is. Tweet text. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a second one for the URL. The reason why I do this a little bit differently is so that if I have a custom field in Salesforce that says last interesting moment, this URL will be a clickable link. And so my sales reps, again, if they see an action that's worth reaching out to, they can click on that link, see the tweet, screenshot it, do whatever they want with it, like it, share it, get on that lead's radar. A really great way to kind of streamline social selling here. And that's about it. Once I have this all set up to my liking, I can go ahead and activate this campaign. It'll be live and we'll start sending out these sales alerts. And that's how we're setting up sales alerts via social actions in Marketo using Socedo social data.